Confederacy of dunks. Toronto Raptors. Scotty B. WeTheNorth, baby.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks basketball podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas, and I'm here with my producer and co-host, Andy Hull. We're rocking it, the two of us today. It's going to be loose. We're going to have some fun. What's up, Andy?
Hey, man, what's happening? When it gets a lower number of teams, there's also a lower number of guests on the show. That's right. That's how we're going to do it.
By the time we get to the finals, no pods. We're done.
I'm out of here. I thought you were just going to say one of us, and it's all Freddie all the time.
Yeah, it's just me, but I don't even record it. You got to find me.
Yeah, he's just doing it as you're walking around doing errands.
Yeah.
Wicked.
But we
How have you been? How have you been?
I've been good.
Let's check in.
Great.
Let's do a check-in. We don't do enough personal check-ins on the show.
Whew, I've been good. Still new dad mode. Baby's 3 months. Past couple nights screaming. He screams at night.
Right.
It's all good. He's got pipes now, so he's just sort of like, if I'm upset, like, check this out, and it's like a belt. So me and my partner are both like, I think he's okay, but he's just screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, just letting it rip. Yeah,
letting it rip, and he's healthy, big guy. Things are good. Works good.
Great. Yeah.
How are you?
I saw him on the street yesterday. I do realize immediately that sounds like I saw him like individually, like by himself walking on the street. That's not how I saw him.
Yeah.
You guys were all walking together. He was in his little stroller. I saw him. He looks solid. Looks great. Yeah. Good looking kid there.
Good.
My kid woke me up last night by going, "Daddy! Daddy!" And then I went in. I was like, "What's up? Are you okay, buddy? You okay?" Because he maybe had a bad dream or something. He's just like, I just want you to lie down with me. It's just like very casual. Once I got in there, it's like, I was just hoping you'd come in and chill out with me for a bit. I was like,
you're
man,
like,
go to sleep.
Yeah. You're like,
get out of here.
Yeah, I can. But would you mind not scaring me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I woke up like with a heart attack.
Yeah. Good stuff.
There it is.
We talking Harry. We talking Owen. Like who?
We're talking Harry. Yeah. It was Harry. It was the hair man. We were also talking about lids before we got in here, and I'm saying the lids is not up to date with their current hat situation. I went in there looking for a Timberwolves hat because I was telling you before we started recording that my mom got me a Timberwolves hat a while ago. It's a Mitchell & Ness, but she got it from Winners, so it's really weird. It's like a weird material and a bad shape. It's just really strange. I've never seen a hat like it. It looks fine until you put it on, and then it's like, why is that guy wearing one of those like old timey soldier hats? Like that's what it looks like. It looks like I'm in the military or something.
Like old timey, like the type of, like a helmet or what?
No, like like when like it's like a sea captain hat, but not
okay.
So like the top is like out more, and then it goes in near your head, and it's just like this looks wrong. But they don't have that. They don't have that, and they don't have like any of the teams that were really the playoffs. Obviously, they have a couple like the big names, but like
we only have
they don't have Timberwolves.
Teams.
Truly, they had like Lakers and
you guys want
like
a Spurs hat,
Warriors,
Raptors hat, Hornets.
Yeah, this is exactly the truth. I'm not embellishing.
I love it.
Like they obviously had Nuggets, and they obviously had like Celtics, and obviously a million Raptors hats. But they didn't have like any OKC hats. They didn't have any T-Wolves hats. They didn't have. And like I get it, on a regular year, you're not going to really have those hats. They didn't have any Pacers stuff anywhere. But like you'd think that like as the playoffs go on, it's like, okay, here's the NBA playoffs. Order a bunch of stuff that are the teams that are currently in the playoffs, right? People might want to start rocking some of that gear, but apparently not. The higher ups at Lids.
No,
fingers not on the pulse.
I know the owner, Brian Lids.
Brian Lids, I love him. Good man.
Yeah, he doesn't he only orders teams that are losing. So
yeah.
You walked into the strategy that he thinks works, and Lids has existed for a long time. So I'm with Brian on this one.
Did you see that guy on social media who was like, I don't believe
I don't believe in
nothing
lids.
is real.
It's not real.
And he's like you're telling me that look, the mall, like none of this is real. None, like these stores aren't making enough money. And the example he uses is the lids. He's like, you telling me people are buying enough hats? Like the rent is like $2,000 a month in the store. Me telling people are buying enough hats at a store like this, and everyone is like, dude, that's lids, man. Like,
okay, if you're tuning in this podcast for the first time, we got 45 more minutes on lids. Okay,
yeah, we got a lot of lids content.
Just getting started on lids at Dufferin Mall. Okay, what? You think we can talk about the food court? Not for a second. Okay?
Not even close. I'm not walking down there yet. We're not going past the Cinnabon. We're just keeping it in the lids section only. And I did mention winners, and I will again.
Sure. The kiosks? Nope. No time for that. We're talking about lids.
Chance. Well, you think I need a phone case? Get out of here.
I've gotten a couple phone cases from there, and let me tell you, they're all right.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go. Big. We did say seconds ago we were not going to talk about the kiosks, and then Freddie comes in with a huge endorsement.
I lied.
Yeah, you big time lied.
So, lids.
But anyways,
is great, yeah.
Lids, get some better hats because I need a Wolves hat to show my support.
Listen, since we're here, there was a place. Do you remember that gray area before weed was legalized, and there was like a bunch of like weed shops? Like there still is some of that, right? There's like cafe, and if you're in the west end of Toronto, you know what I'm talking about. There's these places that like they sell weed, but they're not like a government weed place. And there was a place that like right around like St. Clarence and Bloor, and at first it was like head shop, then it was like hat shop. But it was like you walked in there and the place was dank with weed. So like the clothes were a front, and you'd be like, "Hi, I'm here for weed," or whatever. And they would press a button.
They would tap their nose, nod at you,
no,
pull a lever from.
A wall that was holding hats would open, and you'd walk in.
Wait, is that real? No,
that's 100% real.
No way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
like a speakeasy for weed.
And they kept getting shut down, and their new name would always be related to like a hat pun. It was like hats, head shop, like whatever, like Dome Supplies. It had about 4 different names related to heads. None of them lids. That's
Green Hats. Green Hats Incorporated. That was that's the newest one that they went. I drove by there the other day somewhere. I thought you were going to talk about this for some reason. But there's like a weed shop that's like the signs on the windows, because you know how they're all like blocked out, like there's no, you can't see inside of a weed shop. I guess it's not allowed. But like it's like we are sovereign people, like exercising our sovereign rights to, and it's like I was like, what's going on with it? This is a little over the top, isn't it? And Sarah's like, oh, it must be just one of those illegal weed places that are like trying, and it's like as if a cop is like, okay, we gotta go bust this weed place, man. They're selling weed. Hold on, these guys are sovereign guys on sovereign land. I can't get in there. These guys are legit, like that's not gonna turn anyone away, man. Hey, like that crazy sign is just gonna make me think you're nuts, and I'm gonna go to the weed store that sells hats right beside it, dude.
Yeah, well, listen, thank goodness you're not a cop, because they wouldn't trick you.
No. No, exactly. What do you say we talk some basketball? How about that?
Let's do it. So, we talked about this a little bit before the pod, but I think we're both in the similar, vibe as far as like the obviously the playoff games now there's so much more stakes, and there's 4 potential champions, and it's exciting. But for me, my Christmas is the first round of the NBA playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know a lot of people who get excited for March Madness, but that, to me, that first round of the playoffs where there's a short period of time where you think that the Heat could beat the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's the best. Or, the Lakers are down 2, but hey, it's LeBron, right?
Yeah.
It could happen. But this third round, 3 games in, I think the big thing, to me, the major narrative is, they're only up 1 game, but Dallas looks good. Luka and Kyrie big numbers in that first game. When this pod comes out, game 2 will have happened. But Luka and Kyrie are getting it done. And I mean, yeah, you can't count Minnesota out. They're a really, really good team. So we'll see. But
yeah, I mean, as they showed, right? Like we definitely had them counted out before and during Game 7 against the Nuggets, and they showed what they were about. And I couldn't. That was an incredible ending.
Yeah,
to that game.
Let's actually talk about that a little. Let's just backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
Was that the best? There's so many good moments of these playoffs. Was that the best sort of overall game? Like I can't remember a Game 7 with that type of comeback. Like, in recent memory, obviously.
Well, I think it is the record for the largest deficit, like to make up in a playoff game. I think that's the record now. They came back from 20 points down and won by 10, so 30 points. They cleared that by the end of that game. A lot of people are talking about. I think it's probably the best game of the playoffs. The other one that I really enjoyed was the Clippers Mavs game, where basically the same thing happened, where it looked like the Clippers were completely out of it. They were down by like 30, and then or was the other way around? Sorry, Mavs were down by 30. They came back. Kyrie stormed back, but then Harden closed it out. But like, yeah, it was incredible, and everyone's talking about the sort of the other guys on the Nuggets not really showing up, right? They switched. They had Gobert on Porter, and then like no, sorry, Gobert was on was he on? Yeah, he was on Porter, I think, and just shut him out. Cat was playing on Jokic, and like those other guys didn't show up. Murray and Jokic got their points and everything, but this was the thing for me. Okay, I thought Jokic looked absolutely gassed by the end of that game, and because he played the whole game. He only didn't play 1 minute, I think, and there was just a point where like it was still really close, and when he was like going for baskets and stuff, or going for rebounds, I should say, like it just felt like he just didn't have the jump that he normally has. Now, this could be just the lumbering nature of Nikola Jokic, because that is something that I find like really funny about watching him play, is that like sometimes he seems like a giant monster who doesn't know where his arms are, and then the next second he'll pull off some incredible play. But like, yeah, by the end, I was like, man, the Nuggets are still in this game, and Jokic just looks like he is like struggling to like move out there. Did you pick up on that at all? Because I haven't heard anyone else say it, and that was just something I noticed.
I mean, he moves so slow that I feel like it's hard to tell. I do think that he didn't sort of overwhelm the Timberwolves in the way that I thought he would.
Yeah,
and I think shout out to Finch and his surrogate coach for just doing a hell of a job. And I think they, Ant-Man gave them a lot of credit, and it was well deserved. They really stuck in it. To me, it's been talked about, I think, a little bit, but a couple of people I'm really happy for. Like, I love when they're kind of like narrative changes. So Gobert's made the conference finals. Mm-hmm. I'm happy for him. Towns has made the conference finals. I'm happy for him. I'm also really happy for Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Mike Conley is such like a one-time all-star journeyman, not journeyman, sorry, but like a guy that's been good for such a long time and well respected. But he's almost like the highest level of a journeyman. And not that he's played for a bunch of teams. He's only played for 3.
Yeah.
You know what? He's not a journeyman. I keep trying to
but I know what you mean. It's that veteran presence, and it feels like he's been around the league in the same way that a lot of those players have. And you kind of expect that a guy who, is still that good and still has that sort of presence, but has been around that long, you expect him to be on a bunch of different teams. So that's kind of how those guys end up playing the ends of their careers out, right? They sign short contracts and they go to different playoff contenders. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean when you say journeyman, even though he has.
Thanks for having my back, because I was trying to make the journeyman word work real hard, and there was someone in the back of my head
on journeys
saying,
those teams. Maybe
Yes,
that's
he
a
has.
different side to that word now.
Here's something I want to touch about, and okay, just to sort of not go all over the place. I think Boston's up 2-0. The Pacers have showed some stuff. I'm really happy for Pascal. He's killing it.
Yeah.
But that's like, do you have anything to add with that series?
Right.
I hope that it's 5 games. I don't know. Boston looks like they are. They look like they are going to win the championship, short of Dallas or Minnesota really, really showing up in a way I haven't seen from either of them yet.
Yeah, like,
is that wrong? Is that bleak?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to depend on what we see from those teams here. I was encouraged by the way Minnesota closed out the series against the Nuggets, even though they were down by 20, but like that showed a lot of character to come back like that. That was really incredible and really exciting to see. And like not be having a good game at all, and then still be able to like turn it on in a way where it's not just him, dominating and scoring points.
He got 7 assists in that game.
Exactly. He moved around. He saw what the team needed. He saw what they needed and showed, I want to say the presence of mind, but that's just because we've been seeing a lot of the Pacers. No, he just like, it's like a maturity almost, like beyond his 22 years, right? To be able to do that. I think there's a lot of guys in the league who were at that age and they just wanted to take the ball and do it all themselves, right? It just shows how really ahead of his time he is in a way. So that was really nice to see. And then similarly, like the way the Mavs played in their first game against the Wolves, I was like, oh yeah, don't forget this team is sick. And I think that big meeting, did you hear about this? That the team apparently had like a meeting, not really a meeting, but they kind of went to Luka and they were like, hey, you gotta stop complaining. You gotta stop turning to the refs after every play.
This.
I don't know if this is 100% true, but I've just like kind of seen people sort of mentioning it around. And that was, I think, whatever, during there was a game where that game where it was crazy. He was just crying so much and it was so annoying to watch him play. And then the next game he seemed to like really cool down on it. And apparently, some of the guys went to him and they're like, listen, you got to stop that, right? Like if it's not happening for you, let's move it around. And then I think he's really had a turnaround. He still is going to the refs a little bit. But I hope he can continue to rein it in, because when he's not doing that, he's so much more fun to watch and he's so much more effective as a player. I think like it really affects the whole team. You can really see it happen. So like if he can contain that and just be the great player he is, and then the Mavericks look like a legit contender. So I don't know. I don't think it's just like Boston's going to run over whoever comes out of the West. Okay. I think it's going to be a very good series in the finals. However, the Pacers are probably not going to be that for them.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. So
game 1 was rough for them.
I think
tough stuff.
I know it was like it's tough to do that well and then still, it's
and then
not,
just be like no closing ability. Just couldn't put the nail in the coffin there.
Well, and here's my thing. Boston, it's not, they're not the type of team that they're going to get tested by a really good team and be like, oh no, we can't rise up. So I think these first 3 rounds, they've just had so much more rest than other teams. Luka's banged up. Minnesota has, that Nuggets series was intense and they're already down 0-1. So I feel like unless the Pacers are able to do something here and really push the Celtics in some way, like I know Kristaps is injured, but the Celtics they don't seem like they've had to sweat enough.
No, they haven't at all.
They'll be able to find those extra reserves when it gets to the finals. That's part of my thinking too.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to, I don't know if you've clocked this already, but I've been talking about this for about, I don't know, 3 years, I think.
Okay.
And I didn't quite predict it, but I think I was someone who noticed this quickly. And you have the super team era, right? The basically, which is like LeBron joining the Heat, joining the Cavs, obviously the Warriors, which was organic, but then they bring in KD. when the Raptors beat the Warriors, it was the Warriors' 5th finals in a row. So that team was kind of out of gas, right? Obviously, they had the 2 major injuries, but on top of that, they had, Boogie Cousins and Cook and Alfonso McKinney and all these guys that people don't even really remember were on that team.
That's
right?
true, yeah.
So they needed to retool and kind of come back, and they did. Credit to them. But the Raptors winning that championship sparked an era of parity that is now tying an era of parity only seen in the 70s.
Yeah.
So check this out. I'm going to start from 1974.
Okay.
So here's how I'm thinking about it. No team returning to the finals. So forget about back-to-back championships. This is an era in the 70s where for 5 years in a row, it was 2 new teams in the finals. So you got the Bucks, 74 Bucks against the Celtics. Celtics win the championship. Next year, you have the Warriors against the Washington Bullets. Warriors win the championship. Next year, you have the Suns against the Celtics. So the Celtics, that's 2 times in 3 years, but they missed it in 75. And the Celtics win again. The next year, 77, you have the Trailblazers winning against the 76ers. And then the next year, you have the 78 Supersonics against the Washington Bullets, who won the championship in 7 games. And I think the year after that, the Bullets returned to the finals. So that was the longest era of parity in league history. So fast forward to this year, you got, I'm starting from the year after the Raptors because that was the 5th year in a row that the Warriors were in the finals. So after that year, starting from the bubble year, you have the Lakers winning against the Heat in 2020. Next year, you have the Bucks beating the Suns, 2021. 2022, you have the Warriors beating the Celtics. And 2023, you have the Nuggets beating the Heat. And so the only team in that whole time to even be in the finals twice is the Heat. And then this year, you have 2 brand new teams. I mean, if the Celtics come back, yes, they were in there in 2022. So you're going to have another era of parity that just rivals the 70s. So we're in a brand new sort of back to the Luka Mavs thing that's going on. It really seems like anything's possible right now. Like the idea of the super team is dead, and with more cap stuff that's going to punish having a superstar type team. I think the idea of the NBA being this like very, very top heavy, predictable league is sort of waning. And I don't think it's going to be like the NHL or the NFL. I don't necessarily think it's going to hit that level of parity, but it's anyone's game since the Cavs and Warriors dynasties ended.
It's really going to rely on like how things go with the salary cap and how people start to structure contracts in like if anything major changes going forward, like because that's what ultimately really changed with the NHL. It was the introduction of the salary cap just leveled it out, right? So you couldn't have teams just loading up. You couldn't have the Yankees, the Red Sox type thing, so yeah, I don't know. I do you like parody? I like a certain amount of it, but there is also something about having dynasties that I like, and I always want the dynasties to fail. Don't get me wrong. I'm always cheering against the dynasty.
Yeah, you got to have a dynasty to then root against a dynasty.
Exactly. I like that. So I'm a little torn on the idea because right now the NHL to me is not that exciting because like so many random teams can get to the finals, and like it's taking nothing away from those teams. Like it's hard to get to the finals in any sport. It's a great achievement, blah blah blah. But it's like I don't know. I like rooting against the Lakers when they're there 3 years in a row, or the Warriors when they're there 5 years in a row. Like I don't know. I think it just makes for a more interesting league. Although if you look at it from the team's perspectives, it's like it's like we all want a chance at the playoffs, right? So like that it will always, every league will always trend towards parity.
I think it's easier to market, but as a fan, unless it's my team, I want parity. And one of my biggest basketball beliefs is that the league is so much more talented than people realize. In that it's not the top 25 players determining everything all the time. I do get that the superstars and stars carry such weight, but if you look at this Minnesota team or this Dallas team, the role players really being so impactful, I think that's a big part of this like when what Naz Reid has been doing this playoffs, it's just incredible. What Derek White has been doing this playoffs, right? Yeah. So all that. So how about PJ Washington? Man, like all these guys that are not the stars just absolutely killing it, to me is exciting. And I think for the average fan or the non sort of like sickos, it might be like, wait, I want Luka to be the only person who does anything. I want Kyrie to be the only person who does anything. But I'm quite enjoying other people determining the outcomes of games. Not that the stars and superstars aren't still the main factors, but the fact that gap is being bridged a little bit is really exciting to me. Well, but I get the dynastic fun.
It's very clear you still need a superstar player. I mean, if you don't have one, you're in big time trouble. You're not going to be able to match up against other teams that do have those types of players. But you're not wrong in that, like, once you get that matchup, once you have your guy or two guys, let's say, then it's so much is going to be on those players. And like you already mentioned Mike Conley and how the like definite impact he had when he came back from his injury. Like Minnesota looked like a different team, right? So it was really. Yeah, I love that, because no matter how important those star players get, and they are, I think, the most important, you can never escape needing a good supporting roster, and those are the guys that often in the playoffs, because superstars often cancel each other out, or they both have, and by cancel each other out, I don't mean like shut each other down necessarily. Like no one's talking about, like, Jokic had like 30 points in game 7 or something like that. Like he did well. He had a good game. He got his numbers. But we're talking about Aaron Gordon was like 2 for 5, and like Porter was like, what was he, like 3 for 12 or something like that. So like that's where it hurt them, right? Those are the guys who needed to show up. Anyways, but it's we're gonna see a Celtics in the finals, and we're gonna see someone else, and it's I think it's I'm down. I'm okay with it. I was actually rooting for the Nuggets. I wanted to see Jokic in the finals again, just because, again, I want a dynasty to happen, and then I want it to fail. So I wanted the Nuggets to get in there to start it, to spark it up, and then I could start cheering against them. But
I think
whatever.
I'm just sort of I'm rooting for Minnesota. I'm rooting for the Pacers because Pacers have never won an NBA championship. I don't think the Timberwolves have either. So a new champion to me is really fun. And they both have like really incredible stories. So that's who I'm rooting for.
A lot of people are like doing this thing where they're like, I just want Boston to win because I want it to be a really good finals, and I want Boston versus one of these teams from the West. And I pretty much agree with that. I see that. However, Indiana is a fun team to watch. Like
they are fun for sure.
Explosive offense. Like they don't really play a lot of defense, as we've seen. So like I don't mind that. I love it. I love seeing Pascal too, just like go off, and I love hearing the analysts talk about him and talk about how good he is and talk about his like pedigree from being on the Raptors. I don't know. Is it just that like desperate for anyone to mention the Raptors? I don't know, maybe
a little bit. I'm like that too. Hey, I love Pascal.
Yeah, I just love that he's doing well. I just love to see it. It's really great.
Yeah, me too. I would also love if it's one of those years where like the Pacers won the championship, and just the entire time, every series they were in, people were like, they're gonna lose, and then they just win it all, and people are like, and they just start doing the whole like asterisk thing where they're like, well,
I mean,
the first series,
we know what that's like.
Injured. Oh, we know what it's like.
We experienced this exact thing. Exactly.
I mean, I've said this, several times on the pod before, but the idea of an asterisk championship is, to me, one of the most idiotic things. Sure,
Yeah.
if you want to weight different champions, that's all. That's a different conversation.
Sure, yeah.
But to get to win 4 rounds and to win it all, only to have someone being like, "That's a fluke." It's like that to me is just
it's insane.
It's like a kid in a water fight where they get like you bust out the super soaker on them and they're like, "My mom says I can't get wet." And it's like, well, you just got wet. You're soaked, buddy.
You're soaked, pal.
You're soaked, okay?
You're freaking swimming right now.
You're playing with everyone, and I got you. You want a water balloon, or you want to run back in your house? Okay, fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's like if the New York Knicks were like, for this playoffs, we're like, okay, everyone else gets an asterisk from here on out. Asterisk, everyone. We were injured the whole time. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. Sorry, you didn't play against a healthy Knicks team, Pacers. So everything going forward has an asterisk now. It's like, no, man, that's just the playoffs. You know what I mean? That's how it works.
Speaking of Knicks and like pettiness and Raptor stuff, because I think there's some really well. I mean, I got some huge news, and then also,
I want to get to that. We got to get to that.
Let's jump in and just some big Toronto news. So the Toronto got a WNBA franchise. We know this already. There was an announcement on Thursday. I got to be there. I got to interview Justin Trudeau, which was absolutely insane. But a piece of news that came out with all of this, and there's a lot of cool stuff, but the WNBA and NBA board, respective board of governors, got to vote on a new, vote Toronto in, and everyone voted in favor except the New York Knicks. We're like, you still stole our plays. Darko stole our plays. We're suing you. So the pettiness of the Knicks to be like, not us is so wonderful to me. And and I'll just use it as a reminder for all the Toronto people who cheered for the Knicks. What do you think they like us? What's wrong with you? Have some respect. Don't cheer for the Knicks. What's wrong with you?
Have some respect.
Have some respect for yourself. That's the Knicks. Okay. The Knicks would never, like a New Yorker, rightfully so. It's never going to be like, you know what? I want Toronto to win.
I think they would. I think you're wrong. I really do.
If you're a New Yorker who also likes Toronto,
New Yorkers
let me know.
See Toronto as a threat, and those are the teams you cheer for when you're once you're out of it, right?
But fair enough. Okay, all right.
So it's a burn on us. Certainly, it's still a burn.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's a type.
But I don't know. That's kind of why I'm cheering. That's why I cheer for the Knicks, but I never cheer for any other New York sports team. I'm like, yeah, right.
Wait, you cheer for the Knicks too?
Well, I was pulling for them. Yeah, I like the Knicks. Yeah, listen, but only when they're losing. When they're like really good, no, I'm done with them. I'm done with them. I only like it when they're kind of this like underdog kind of feel to them. Which I think these Knicks, even though they were like the 2 seed, right? Still, they felt like this underdog, scrappy type team the whole time, and that's.
I got a confession. I like the Knicks too.
Oh, what?
No, I don't. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
I hate the Knicks. Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
You like that turn? No, I do, in fact, not like them. But
so tell us about interviewing the Prime Minister. You have, of course, your other podcast with Catherine, and it's called
the Pickup. WNBA.
I was gonna say the pull up. I know that's not what it's called. It's called the Pickup. I knew that.
Pickup WNBA podcast on the Sonar
great
Network.
Podcast. It's been shouted out by so many great people. So many people in the industry speak very highly of it, and of course you're on this podcast, so we also speak very highly of it. But you got to interview the Prime Minister of Canada. Can you tell us? Okay, so don't step on the toes of the podcast that you just did. Sure. So go over, listen to the Pickup, listen to the interview with friggin' Justin Trudeau. But tell us a little bit about how did that come to be? How did that happen?
Yeah, so the press secretary of the Prime Minister, Mohammed Hussein, Mo, shout out Mo.
Big shout out Mo.
Big shout out Mo, brother. Oh my God. He messaged and emailed Catherine, and he said, we're the PM is coming to, for this big unveiling, and he thinks it'll be fun if maybe he could, or we think it would be fun if you do your podcast. What do you guys think? So we obviously said yes. And, Catherine called me in the middle of the night, or not the middle, but like late night. She was like, you need to call me. And she was just laughing. And she was like, guess what? Like, think of the craziest thing you can about our podcast. And guess. And I said a couple of like insane jokes, and she's like, it's crazier than that. And she legitimately thought it was junk mail for a little while, and thankfully didn't delete it. And then things happen really fast.
So
yeah.
can I ask you quickly, how does Justin Trudeau know about your WNBA podcast?
I will first and foremost say this. He certainly does not.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will also say this. When we met him, he right away said, I listened to your last episode. You guys really go for it. It was funny. And then was telling us stuff specifically from the episode. Not just like themes, like jokes we made.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so he definitely listened to an episode.
He listened to an episode, of course. Yeah, you got to know what you're getting into there.
But so he's doing, I guess, as like an outreach thing, he's doing a lot of podcasts. So we're not the first. He's doing a bunch of different podcasts, and his team, his press secretary, they thought it would be cool if he would do our podcast, and Mo let us know that we are the ones who've been doing the podcasts, WNBA podcasts, for the longest. I don't believe there is another WNBA podcast in Canada, and I'm sure others will start, but we've been grinding it out, and for that reason, he was like, you guys are fans, and I wanted you to have this opportunity, and I think it would be fun for the Prime Minister to just sort of like do something different, and we're in Toronto. Do you want to do it?
Amazing.
So yeah. I mean, there's so much more there. I don't know what you're curious.
Okay, so
fire away. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like you did this in person. We've seen the pictures
in person.
Like how much time did you have with them? Like what was that setup like?
So we were given like 15 to 20 minutes, and we had to be brought into a room that was like so on the way to do it was surreal. So first of all, like anyone who was at this event, your gear, everything you had was sniffed by dogs.
Right.
And the room we went into was like swept a bunch of times, and
okay, never mind. I literally
sorry. There's a bunch of people with brooms.
Yeah, no, that's dumb. That's bad.
No, it was a curling thing. People
they really had to make sure there was no dust on the floor. Like really,
no dust at all.
Yeah.
But on the way to the room, I probably walked past. I want to say like 15. Like, I don't know, like CSIS, RCMP security guys.
Wow.
And yeah, they were all, no one was afraid of me. They were all smiling at me. Like, I checked you out. You're the least threatening person of all time.
Yeah. I don't even need to frisk you or anything. I know what's going on with you.
I would like judo chop you to death.
Actually, do you want this sword? You can just bring it in if you want. That's how not worried about you I am.
Take my gun, try and shoot me, and I think you'll accidentally shoot yourself. You're a moron. But yeah, so we had 15 minutes. I think the actual recording is about 17 minutes, but Prime Minister Trudeau wanted to meet us before and like chat a little bit, which was cool. Nice, so we like talked for 5 minutes as we were setting up. It's funny when they told us like, okay, we're going to bring our producer. Shout out Michael Mongliardi from the Sonar Network. He came, he took some photos, videos. He was awesome. And he recorded the podcast. And so they asked Catherine, like, okay, so how long, does it take to set up? And she said, like, I don't know, like 30 minutes. And they said, okay, can you do 10? And so she was like, I guess, right? Like, are you asking?
Imagine at that point being like, actually, no, sorry.
Absolutely not. Sorry, dude.
It takes as long as it takes, guys.
Well, it's funny because I will say, great pod. Everything went well, but the levels are a little bit off.
Okay.
There's no, we did our best, right? But it's a big cavernous room. Listen, it's all good. But so then Catherine was like, oh, well, sure, we'll try. And then 2 emails later, they're like, can you do 7 minutes? And
oh my God.
yeah, Catherine said, I don't know. We'll just be as fast as we can. Is that okay? And then on the day, someone else came to us and told us, like, okay, so we were told that you can do 5 minutes. And Catherine was like, I never said that. Just a heads up. I literally never said that to anyone. So we will be as fast as we can. But it did feel like it was working its way down to like, can you set up in less than 10 seconds?
Exactly. We've been told you're set up and ready to go.
Yeah. I want, because like we couldn't get in the room before. They were in the room. Apparently we were supposed to like have a podcast room, but they just brought us into the room where like all the prime minister or, a bunch of the prime minister's staff was.
Okay.
So they were like, I guess like talking about foreign politics or whatever.
That's whatever.
Really
foreign politics, not even Canadian politics. They're talking about other countries' politics.
Yeah. So then we came in. Well, actually, sorry, right before we came in, Trudeau walked out and he was like, "Hey guys, pumped," and the whole thing was surreal. He was really, really kind. And
what was he like? Like, was he like? He sounds like a pretty casual guy. Like he sounds like very cool to talk to.
Yeah, he was very cash, very charming. Friends who've listened to the episode, which is out today, and I didn't even catch this in the moment. There is a moment where he calls me a bastard. So,
yeah, I haven't listened to it yet. So, like, I'm very excited to. I will be listening to it immediately after this.
Yeah, I went very Torontonian on him, and I was talking about how there's only one. We're the only Canadian team in an American league, our WNBA team, similar to the Blue Jays and the Raptors. And as soon as I mentioned the Blue Jays, he was like, yeah, well, that kind of hurts, man, because the Expos, I used to go to Expos games with my dad. And I was like, oh, my bad. And then I was like, oh, well, the Grizzlies. He's like, I also used to live in Vancouver. So you're kind of being a bastard. And I was like, yikes.
You got called out. Because you are a pure bastard. He's right about that.
I am a pure bastard. My parents aren't married. But yeah, no, I
have a generic last name.
I have a generic last name.
Snow.
John,
you're Freddie Snow.
I'm John. Yeah, I'm John Freddie Snow. By the way, in Game of Thrones, that's Jon Snow's middle name, Freddie. Just to have
Freddie. Yeah, John Freddie Snow. Yeah. John Freddie Snow.
That's not even a good. That's not even any joke. No,
that's good.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You're throwing me some bones. I appreciate it.
I love it.
Yeah, he was cool, man. Like I don't know. I haven't met a lot of prime ministers or any, and I never will again. But yeah, I
don't know. Keep up this WNBA podcast. It seems to be taking you places. You might be interviewing Vladimir Putin after this.
Yeah. Putin's like, would you like to set up in negative minutes and I'm going to kill you? Like,
good Putin impression though. Also.
Yeah. Was that good?
Very tight. Yeah.
But
so he was cool. He was nice.
He was cool. The staff was cool. They also brought us to like a second event, which was cool. We got to go watch the Lady Ballers charity in Mississauga, closer to Brampton. And just so we watched Kayla Gray and some girls play basketball. And then, we interviewed them a little bit and hung out with the staff. And I got to talk to a bunch of the PM staff, which was cool. Just different RCMP officers. There's a archivist on staff. So we're officially a part of the Canadian archives because all the prime minister's, minutes and activities are tracked. They're documented for Canadians to see like, hey, what did the prime minister do on whatever, January 8th? Like, I want to know. Where's my
January 6th? I thought you were
where's my Yeah. Was he
storming the U.S. Capitol?
Where was Prime Minister on January 6th? Okay, was he in or out of the Capitol?
Turns out, weirdly, big Trump guy. JT, who knew?
Big Trump guy. No worries.
So you said you also talked to Larry Tannenbaum? Is that real?
Yeah, so that was like a little bit of a what's up. We didn't interview Larry Tannenbaum, but I mean, this room was crazy. Larry Tannenbaum, Drake, Scotty Barnes, Lowry, Masai.
So, now this was the the announcement, or was this like you were just in a room with them?
No, yeah, this was the announcement and the reception.
Okay.
But and there was also a panel, but after the announcement, we got pulled out because we had to do this podcast.
Oh, okay.
So the prime minister's people came to us and they were like, okay, let's like basically like let's move. So we were sort of being like moved around a little bit. So it was not, that aspect was not chill, but we it's like, we understood what the assignment was.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Ed Rogers, just the new president of the WNBA team, Teresa Resch, the head of women's Canada basketball, people from the.
No, what was that? What's Ed Rogers doing there? Isn't he the one who turned it down in the first place? Like, didn't he
Yeah,
want
that's
nothing to
what
do
I
with it?
thought.
And Tannenbaum went around him, right? Because they're not MLSE, right?
Yeah, and there was certainly a lot of talk about how like Tannenbaum did this. Like he was the hero of the day.
Totally.
Everyone's speeches, everyone talked about how he was the guy.
I love it.
People were like, this is the person, pushed through and got this done.
In that case, I love that Ed Rogers was there to hear all that. I love that.
Me too. And also, anyone who knows like a little bit of their like Toronto sports history, Rogers has been they were against the Jays, they were against the Raptors, and that didn't stop them from eventually owning those things.
Yeah, what?
Right? So
Man,
they
fuck
didn't.
Rogers.
They were very. I know. They're not like. They're just like. They just buy things.
They're my number one most hated company. Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, you have
all because of the way they wouldn't cancel my cable back in 2012 when I really wanted them to, and they never did.
That's
kept charging me for it. Guess what? I hold grudges.
That's me and Bell.
But you actually interacted with Larry, correct?
Yeah. I said congratulations, and he said thanks.
Sweet, amazing. Yeah,
people were lining up to interview him, so
right.
I wasn't one of those people. I
sure,
would have been. I did interview like very briefly the commissioner of the WNBA, Kathy Engelbert, which is so cool. She was so nice.
And is that in the show, or was that like you had her on like remote?
That we just filmed it, so we're gonna put that together for a later show cool. With some of our other content. But it was just sort of a wild kind of.
It sounds like an incredible time. It sounds like just an incredible time, and it is. It's like really, really super exciting that we're getting a new franchise here in Toronto. Obviously, we're all us basketball fans. We're all really stoked about it, and that's just so sick that you got to be so close to it all, and obviously talking to the Prime Minister is wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say bucket list, but it's not something I thought I would be doing.
Right? Yeah, you didn't have that on the bucket list.
No.
Did you know that the term bucket list just comes from the movie? Like it wasn't a thing before that movie.
What?
I saw this like list of things that are like that. I was some guy on TikTok, I think, and bucket list is just from the movie Bucket List. That was
Danny
not a
Glover
thing before that. Yeah, and Joe Pesci. Also, similarly, you know how if you refer to something as like being done, being over, it's toast. Yeah,
it's from the movie Done.
It's from the movie Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
Bill Murray, I think, improvised the line of saying like she's done, she's toast, and that's the first recorded usage of toast being used that way. And then now it's just a term that's just something that everyone says. Isn't that crazy? How it can just come from a movie like that? Anyways.
Wow.
Fun stuff. Okay, now I got a little thing here now. The 2024 fan favorites powered by NBA ID. Okay, anyways, they were announced. Okay. So it's just like moments from the past season that were announced as being fan favorite stuff. So we're going to just look at them and talk about them briefly here at the end of the show.
Sure.
And then we're going to be done. I'm switching to the big board. Let's go. Okay. First up, we have Dunk of the Year. Do you have any inkling as to what Dunk of the Year could be? I mean, it's a million dunks. So
there's a million dunks, but can I just say that one of your most frequented things was Magic the Gathering? Shout out, dude. Used to. Actually, it's not anymore. That's just on there from before. Wow.
I haven't played Magic in like two years.
But it's still been like frequented enough that it's hanging out. I love it.
Exactly. It's still got thousands of views, so it's still in my top shit.
Okay, Dunk of the Year. It's such a blurry thing for me.
It got posted a lot. This one, I remember. Like this one was made the rounds. I did remember seeing this one.
Can you give me like just a small clue?
Okay.
Okay. Is it the Ant-Man dunk where he broke his hand?
Did he break his hand? Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, this is the
or
one.
he like hurt his hand on it
against Utah.
I think he hits his head on the backboard.
That's
or is that a different
play.
dunk? Oh
that's
my god!
Different play. Okay, let's watch it. Here it is. You can see this, right?
Yeah. Oh my god!
Just insane. It's like barely a dunk because he kind of throws it in the.
Those are the best dunks though. Dwight Howard did a bunch of those.
Yeah,
it's like it's almost like a baseball throw. I don't know if they're the best dunks, but it's like a really rare, incredible category of dunk.
Like, shouldn't your hand kind of have to touch the rim for it to be a dunk? Like, should we call this something else where you got so high above the rim that you just threw the ball down into the rim?
I would call
and you're also far out. Like he's like a foot away from the rim when he throws the ball in. It's nuts.
I honestly feel like we should call it the Dwight Howard or like the Superman, because those Dwight Howard did that in one of the dunk offs where he's so high he sort of baseball throws it into the net, and it's just like it's an incredibly like it's like there's dunking and then there's like higher levels of dunking, and that's like right at the very top of athleticism to be able to do something like that.
And rest in peace, Utah's John Collins, because he was buried that day and never to return.
And sorry, I always have to just take a jab. One of my favorite dunk offs. He tried to jump over the Wright brothers plane, and he broke the Wright brothers plane, the model Wright brothers plane. It's one of the funniest fucking things ever.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, block of the year. Block of the year. Any notion as to what block of the year could be?
Block of the year. Okay, I think because of the category, it's gotta be a Victor Wembanyama block.
You'd think that, because honestly, just by percentages, you'd be pretty good to bet on that. But actually, it's a play you've already mentioned. It's Ant-Man again with the block of the year. It's when he hits his head on the rim. Yeah, here we go. Insane.
Wow.
It's like he's being pulled up by a rope. Like that's how the rise on his jump, he gets so high.
And there's people who have to duck. For someone actually to like fully smack their head like that is silly.
I gotta watch it again here. Ugh. How does he get up there?
He like hits his shoulder too.
Yeah, dude. Totally. His shoulder is really close to the actual rim of the basket.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah, crazy that Ant-Man has block and dunk of the year. I wonder when the last time that happened was. Assist of the year. Now this one, obviously, this one was tougher for me. I had some ideas about what the dunk might be. Block, who knows? Assist, I'm like, I don't know. There's got some crazy Luka assist, maybe.
Assist, my guess suggests, I won't be able to have this one, but my assist has got to be some kind of Jokic baseball throw.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Or like a really wild Halliburton, cross court pass type thing. Yeah.
And you know what?
Those would be my guesses.
Those are great guesses, but it's even crazier than that, to quote Catherine telling you about Justin Trudeau. Here it is. It's DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, it's like a
kicking it out to Kobe White, the 360 pass. Here it is. Insane. And he hits it.
You know, Bam. He's done that now like 2 or 3 times. Oh, yeah. What's awesome about that is he doesn't complete the spin.
Yeah, no,
it's cross body.
Yeah, exactly. So he 360s and then passes it across his body the other way. So it works against the momentum that he's already going in. That's what makes that absolutely incredible.
Very good.
And we'd love to see DeMar getting his flowers for whatever it is. And then they have 3 more, but this is the last one we have a clip for.
Okay.
Because the other 2 are photo of the year and fit of the year. But this
photo of the year, by the way, has to be Jimmy Butler.
Photo of the year, I'll tell it right now. It's just the dunk. It's just the same dunk, Ant-Man.
Oh.
It's a picture of that dunk. I know. It should be the Jimmy Butler in-game photo.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like player photo of the year. It would be Jimmy Butler.
Fit of the year has to be Wembanyama showing up as Slender Man. If it isn't, it's wrong.
Could it be Jokic showing up as Gru from Minions?
Oh yeah, you know what? Okay, I don't care if you dress cool. I want to see costumes, boys.
Yeah, exactly. I think they take this category a little too seriously. But here we have Handle of the Year first before we get to that. So Handle of the Year, I mean, again, yes, exactly.
This one
who could
really, I wouldn't
What
know.
player jumps to your mind when you think this guy could knock someone out of their shoes?
Kyrie,
Okay.
Steph, some of the usual
First name, you got it. It's Kyrie Irving.
Oh, it is.
And
okay.
It's on Dylan Brooks. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so if you haven't seen this play, it's Kyrie on ISO against Dylan Brooks, and he's like, the thing I think is there's two things that are really impressive about this. One, Brooks like stays with him, kind of. Like he doesn't look like he's like out of it, defending this. However, the fact that Kyrie then just absolutely dominates him off of this dribble is just a test to how good both players are, really. But just Kyrie, it looks so sick here. It's like, I love this. This was my favorite of all the plays.
Yeah, this is nasty.
Brooks is back and forth. He's with him the whole time. Great defender, but just Kyrie with a spin move at the end. Just forget it.
All of my favorite highlights always have someone who's doing a really good job defending.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be as impressive if it was some bozo who fell over. You know what I mean? Like, it would look cool.
Exactly.
Like, it would look funny.
Totally.
Right?
If it's like me guarding Kyrie and I like tear both ACLs, it's like, actually, if it's both ACLs, that'd be cool. But
both ACLs.
Somehow both. But like, if it's just
your leg just snap in half.
Okay, that would be all right. That'd be pretty good. But like, if it's not a compound fracture or regular normie just getting like sea walked on, then it's got to be someone who almost blocks a shot. Like,
Yeah, just because that just shows you how good the play was to stand up against someone who's so good at defending, right? Like, that's what I think happened right there. Like, for Kyrie to make it look that good while being defended so hard and so well, it's great. And fit of the year was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but it's just like, hey, he wore a fun jacket. It's like, come on,
nice.
We know he knows how to dress. I guess
awesome.
they take it really seriously, that one. They don't give it out to guys wearing costumes. Okay, fine. Too bad. You missed out on the fun there. Michelob Ultra Drip Style of the Year award.
Wow, Michelob Ultra getting in there.
That's the name of the award. The Michelob Ultra Drip Style of the Year award.
Wow.
Yep. Anyways, there you go.
Yeah, well, I think that takes us to the end here of a nice, loose, fun pod. We've been wanting to do this. And anyone who's listening or commenting, whatever, let us know. We're going to be jamming out, doing some summer stuff. I think I have some fun quiz ideas yeah. So we're going to give those a try. I really like, some of this highlight watching stuff we did here. And obviously we'll be talking about the Raptors, the draft coming up, the the end of the playoffs here, and into the summer and free agency and stuff. But hit us up. Thanks for the feedback, as always, the support. Make sure you subscribe to Raptors Republic, support all the hard work there. And Andy, you got any fun plugs?
No, all the same stuff. Just check me out if you want to follow me. I'm on Instagram at Andy Holbone. You can see all the same stuff. Space Janners, trivia nights, shows. We're all over the place.
Sounds good. Yeah, I got my show May 31st off of Ossington there. Follow me in All Good Comedy. And please check out my interview with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. It's at the Pickup Pod on Insta and Twitter. It's episode 82. And we had a great time doing it. Wild experience. And we'll see y'all next week.
See you later.
Peace.